Hello, my name is Atticus, and welcome to the Naval Sports League. For our first time watchers, the Naval Sports League, or NSL, is the ultimate naval competition in the game of Holdfast Nations at War. League battles are simple. Two teams, each led by a single admiral, pilot five large capital ships and two smaller support boats with the goal of sinking as many capital ships as they can within 35 minutes. Whoever sinks the most wins, and if there's a tie, it's decided by overall score. Teams consist of anywhere between 20 to 40 players, and the league provides mercenaries to balance out any number disparities between the teams. Every player in the league, be they a team player or mercenary, is competing hard for end of season awards and accolades. Every battle will take place on a randomly chosen map with randomly chosen wind direction. Both of these factors means that no two battles will ever be the same. The league lasts for 9 months from late February to November, with 3 games a month for you people to enjoy. Once that main season is over, the top 3 teams of the league will duke it out to determine who wins the champion's crown. The NSL is a collection of Holdfast's most talented admirals, officers, and crews. The tactical gameplay you'll see here is a higher level than anything else this game has to offer. We hosts and co-hosts will be here for the entire battle to help you understand the decisions and strategies that you'll see play out in the NSL Coliseum. So without further ado, let's get into the pre-game coverage, and I'd like to introduce my co-host today, who is Baboof. How's it going, Baboof?
This is Boober speaking. Good to be here. Excited to watch what should hopefully be an exciting match today.
Absolutely. I think we've got a bit of a slobber knocker on our hands here. So
Oh,
let's
what?
take a slobber knocker. I'm
Never
breaking out
heard
my
that.
American lingo.
That-
Uh, us Europeans don't
never,
use that word very often.
never heard it.
Uh, let's have a look at the league standings. So the latest league standings have Leviathans on top, but one of today's competitors, the SCP, is in a close second, only on points, and have a 100% record. The their opposing team today, the Jackals, haven't won this season yet, so it's looking like it's going to be an uphill struggle for the Jackals. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the SCP have kind of been the break. I mean, so far in this season, they've kind of been the breakout star. Um, they've done really well. They did decently in the preseason, but nothing like this. I mean, who would have thought that they'd be rivaling Leviathans for second place? They've really been an upward trajectory. I'm very excited to see where they're going. Jackals, on the other hand, they've struggled a bit. They struggled a bit in the preseason. They've struggled a bit here. Um, it's interesting to see they're going to have a new admiral on today, who was actually formerly their top captain. So a bit of a shift. I heard their admiral currently is otherwise engaged, but hopefully that will maybe bring some new blood in and see what can happen.
That's definitely
They've had a bit.
something to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think, yeah, they'll have a bit of an uphill struggle, but I think the Jackals are an interesting team. I think they have a lot of potential. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. Also, they have played this map before. The SCP has not played this map before.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I have a soft spot for the Jackals, and I've watched them through preseason and through this season, and they have tended to get progressively better, and I do believe they have a few wins in them this season. Although I don't think
Absolutely.
today is that day.
I
Let's move
mean,
on
I
and
think
take
we'll
a look.
probably agree on that, but yes.
Sorry, yeah. Let's just move on and have it take a look at the player leaderboard. And as you can see at the top, Spicy Paper of the SCP is leading the way as he has done all season. No Jackals representation, but we do have Verita and Blackfriar of the Krakens and the Leviathans, respectively, joining the top 5 after last week's match.
Nice.
Um, and that's about it to say on the player leaderboard. Obviously, Spicy's going to be a big difference maker in this game, and he is one of the reasons that the SCP are climbing have transitioned from mid-table to we've got to give them the moniker of title challenger now, absolutely without a doubt.
Absolutely. I mean, it's still early, but yeah, they're absolutely proved themselves a top team. I mean, could still go wrong, but I don't see it going wrong.
No, I don't either. Let's have a look at the side by side. So the admirals today are Charney Lish for the Jackals and Muffin Top Scout for the SCP-38s. Muffin Top, a seasoned admiral. I think he's admiraled every single
I'm
SCP,
pretty sure every single. I'm pretty sure it's been every single game. Yeah,
and he
and
knows what
Sarni
he's doing.
hasn't done
Go
any
ahead.
yet, but he is a top captain.
Yes.
So that should be interesting.
Their season record, yeah, SCP. They've played each other twice now. SCP have taken both win. Oh, sorry, that's season record. My mistake. Season record. SCP obviously 2-0, and the Jackals 0-2. They don't have an all-time matchup, so they've never met each other before. They didn't hit each
Wait,
other
yeah,
in
yeah. They in
preseason.
the preseason, I'm pretty sure they did. If I check
Okay.
my notes,
Hey,
um, I'm pretty sure they. Yeah, they. I think they. Yes, they did on what was used to be called Mile, which is now some other name. The SCP. They had a bit of a meandering match where a bit of a messy match, let's say, where the SCP split their fleet and
was
the Jackals went into the islands, but
was
eventually they end up in the line, and the SCP end up defeating the Jackals.
was that the game when all the 8 guns went one way and the 13 went the other way for the SCP?
Exactly.
That was a
Exactly.
great
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
That was a
That
great
was a very
watch as
fun one to
well.
watch. Yeah.
Looking at their top players, Spicy's there, Shadow and Russell. For the SCP, we got Felician, Milicic, and Gresio for the Jackals. The ones to watch. For the Jackals, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name other than call him W. And for the SCP, it's Bobby123. Now, BB Bobby was
Rosvinicio. Rosvinicio. I
excellent,
think that's how you
excellent.
say it.
This man, ladies and gentlemen, this man. So I know a lot more about Bobby than I do about Mr. W. I know Bobby won quite a few awards in the preseason and was
Yeah.
featured quite highly. Um, the Jackals, Mr. W, I'm gonna keep calling him. He is definitely the Jackals' highest scorer this season so far in a single match. He has, and he had a few outstanding matches in the preseason. I do recall as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. He was their MVP there, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So gonna be an interesting one. You've reminded me of their original match now, and we will sack the
Yeah.
graphics effects guy afterwards for this. But let's take a look at the map then.
Yeah, this
And
is
we are
maybe the most difficult map. Uh, it's one of the more interesting ones this year. People have really they've hoisted themselves by their own petard on this one here. Uh,
I
I mean,
I personally love this map.
I
I
really like
want
it too. I think it's really interesting, simple but interesting. Yeah,
I've never played on it, and I've spent hours looking at it, going, well. This is an unstoppable strategy. I won't say what that strategy is in my mind because I could be wrong, or I could be right. But
yeah. It's hard. There's a lot of I've also have a lot of theories about this map.
yes,
It looks deceptively simple, but it is quite difficult. It's also different when the last match the Jackals and the KRN played this year, and they had equal wind, right? So the wind was from the side for each of them. The KRN ended up taking the upwind position, a more dominant position, which and end up winning that match. Also because the Jackals admin were disconnected halfway through, which is a shame. But
that
this
was a
time the
big
Jackals
shame.
actually have the wind against them. The SCP have the wind, so that's going to be doubly difficult. I mean, if I was the Jackals, I'd probably play defensively in this case. I don't know about you, but that's sort of what my thoughts were. What if I would do
Well,
in their position?
well, we did see the Leviathans have the wind in a similar situation last week, and they played very defensively, and it worked out for them. But it's the key for all of these teams is how they deal with a negative wind and how they play defensively in an effective manner.
Yeah. Thing is, the nice one is this, it's nice and predictable in a way, right? Because I don't think anyone's going to come out in the outer channels because that would be crazy. But if you can effectively block the middle channel there, um, that would just sort of my thought what I would do if I was in this position. But it'd be interesting to see how the SP would crack that nut. But I have no idea if the Jackals would do that or not. That's what I would
I'm
do though.
I'm absolutely devastated that I don't have Lemerc's crayon right now because I would love to draw some
Oh,
lines on
you
this
don't?
little map.
He didn't lend you his crayon? Oh.
It's trademarked. It's copyright. Only
Oh
Lemerc can
no,
use
no,
Lemerc's
but yeah,
crayon.
it's true. He was already abusing that power last time, and in the last whole time hosting, I was like, okay, don't have to put yellow lines all across the map. Let the guys play let the guy play before you like start telling them like directing their moves.
The opening. So looking at the SCP's opening, I mean, they've got they've got a 50-50 choice. Do they take the wind or do they go perpendicular to the wind? I'd
Hmm.
expect them to come up to the west, up towards the west, towards the banner
Yeah.
at the top of the picture
Yeah.
the viewers are seeing right now, and that gives them probably a few more options to take the wind to get where they want to be to engage. We had this map earlier in the season, and there was a lot of talk about who went into the middle first would be at a disadvantage. It's not necessarily a disadvantage, but I do agree that whoever enters the center of this map first has blinked first, and it gives a
Well,
lot of
I think
information.
it depends. It depends if you like. I think I agree with you when the wind is equal for both sides, but when it's dominant on one side, then I think it's not a bad idea to go and into the middle and maybe try and dominate the center there. If your enemy is down in a downwind position of you, I don't think it's a terrible idea to do it, but
If
I
no,
guess
I
we'll
totally
see.
agree. If I was the SCP today, I would start by heading directly south, north, directly towards the Jackal spawn,
Oh, really?
and absolutely control that center. If the Jackals don't want to come into the center, that's absolutely fine. Just we'll shadow you round the islands. We'll blockade, even if you will, their access to the
Yeah,
island.
I really hope because most people have ended up sort of in a death spiral in the middle, one way or the other. I mean, not only or just getting trapped or getting stuck in the outer bit and getting trashed. That's option B. But I would really like to see people kind of trying to blockade and stop each other and like do kind of more slow tactical maneuvers. That'd be interesting to see if people can get that off the ground.
It absolutely would.
Hopefully
It
get it
absolutely would.
starting.
The game is starting now. We'll get our cameras set up, and then we will get going with this match. I am extremely excited for this one now.
Yeah, very excited. So last minute predictions.
It's gonna be an SCP victory. I'm sorry. I want the Jackals to win. So like I said, I have a soft spot for the Jackals, but and like I say, they do have victories in them, and they have great victories in them. But I don't think today is that day. I think SCP's dominance early on this season will continue.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that. Basically, SCP have just been on such an upward trajectory here, and the Jackals are still finding their footing in a way. And this is a very difficult map to be trying to find your footing on, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So hopefully they can make something happen, but we will see, I suppose.
We definitely will. We definitely will. Um, I'm just having another look now, and now I really wish I had the crayon, just so I could illustrate to the viewers exactly where we are talking about. Would it, if you were the Jackals, what would you do here?
1 second. Well, I would basically blockade the main channel, right? I would just sort of I haven't kind of worked out the details yet, but basically the area between so you have the four islands, right? And you have
Yep,
two in front of the Jackals, two in front um of the
SCP. Yep.
SCP. I would probably go towards the kind of the channel between the islands by the Jackals and sort of do what the Leviathans did last week and sort of set up a nice line that way and then sort of dare the SCP to come at you because I don't think it'd be a good idea for the SCP to go on the outer channels because those are dangerous and not allowed to room to maneuver. And I don't really see the benefit of just going out into the middle when you don't have the wind. I haven't
Yeah,
really like workshopped it yet. I'd have to see exactly like okay where like where would you position the 13 gun vis-a-vis the 8 guns and so on. But that's sort of my instinct.
absolutely. And here we
I don't know
go.
about you.
The all sail has come, and we are underway, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, here we
So
go.
straight away, it looks like both fleets advancing towards each other as they sort themselves out. A key to this will definitely be who can form themselves into a cohesive line or formation quicker. And we know the SCP have worked very hard on their fleet cohesion, on their
Yes.
fleet shape. And yeah, you can
They've
see
gotten
this
very good
now.
at that.
You can see it now.
So
The 13's going to lead out, heading to the southwest.
Yeah, they looks like are they going the outside? I guess they're probably going the outside of the island to get that top position by the banner there. Just for the viewer, the SCP is on the right in the green French ships, and the Jackals are on the left in the yellow British ship.
Absolutely.
They
And
have
are the
a 13
SCP
gun each.
splitting?
Oh, they look to be, yeah.
It looks
The
like
Jack. Oh, they do
the
like to
SCP.
split. I don't always agree with splitting, to be honest, but it
It
looks like
can.
they are.
It's a strategy that can definitely work. I don't know if how well it works this far out and
No,
basically
I know you're
telegraphing
more of
it
a
to
fan
your
of it than
opponent.
I am, but I also say in a different kind of map than this one here, maybe one with more islands. But yeah, we'll see. So, and the Jackals look to be going dead against the wind. Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, yeah, that is correct. The Jackals are going directly into the wind. May
Interesting.
the thinking has to be that we take the bad wind now, when
Yeah,
the SCP are as far away from us as possible, and
yeah.
then
And
we
then
might
I
have
mean, I
some
hope they
wind
don't
to
just
do.
stay on this trajectory because then they could. That's sort of what the RBF did in the first time they played this map. They basically did exactly what the Jackals are, and then just got walloped by the Marines, or they had a different name back then, but whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so hopefully they've watched that map, and hopefully Sarni has watched that game and won't make that mistake. But I don't think
What will
so.
what will be fascinating for the Jackals is we've said it a few times this season. They start well, their mid
Yeah,
game is fine, but they don't know how to close out a match.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
wondering, is
I mean, to
Shani
be fair,
List
last time their admiral disconnected in the crucial moment. Like
that did not help. That definitely
that
did
doesn't
not help.
help. I mean, maybe next time if Lemurk drops that, maybe it will help our chances. We'll see. We'll try and sabotage him next time and see what happens.
Oh, that's easy. So
Wait, the
as we look
SCP
at
is
it now,
genuinely split. They have genuinely split.
they have genuinely split.
Oh, they're
They
stopping.
are they stopping or are they rearranging? Are they pushing one 8 gun ahead of the
It's
other?
hard to say. Hard to say.
There's a lot of sail work
Doing
going on there.
something. I mean, they look to be stopping. They have some kind of plan here. Like they obviously have a plan. I wish the Jackals. I mean, I don't want to criticize Jackals, but I do wish the Jackals were closer to take advantage of their split there. But they seem pretty determined to get up to that area.
And the Jackals do have a nice line as they head northwest, as
They do.
opposed
They
to
do. They got their some small boats with them. Can't really see what they are, but they do. A bit slow so far, but we'll get there.
it is very slow. It is very slow. I haven't seen anything of the SCP boats yet.
I think aren't they behind those 8 gunners there?
So my
I think they're in the outer channel with the 2 8 guns, but I can't be sure.
unfortunately with my vantage point, I cannot see at all. But
I know. I thought I saw one a second ago, but
yes, they are. They are. I do see them.
there they are. Yeah,
I do
they're
see one.
shadowing their fleet. Yeah.
So
I'm
interesting. Are
very
they laying
confused.
a trap?
What is the plan here for? Because if they, I mean, the Jackals are obviously going very slow. Oh, are the Jackals turning?
The Jackals seem to be turning now. Are they
That's
trying to
actually what they
turn?
did last time. Interestingly, they feinted going upwind and they turned down, which I think in that case was probably a mistake because they had equal wind. But in this case, I do like it because they can't just keep going against the wind here. So yeah, they're turning. It looks like.
They are turning. They're doing the opposite of what the RBF did the last time we saw this map. So they're turning before the island. The RBF, if I recall
Yeah,
correctly, turned once they'd passed the island. I believe
dangerous.
what
Yeah, because you can get stuck there between the island and the wind, and it's definitely not something you want.
from what I'm seeing here, I think the two SCP 8 guns that are split off from the fleet, I think they may have been designed to cut off the Jackals if they'd taken that longer turn in and disrupt them to allow the SCP. And now the SCP are pulling up on either side. So
Either side. We haven't seen this before. This is definitely a
no,
and
the,
this map. I mean, it's so deceptive. It's simple, but it is a map that just keeps on giving because no
it
one's
is.
really like people have won and stuff, but nobody's really quite figured it out. I'd say, except to be like, oh, we should take the top. We should take the upwind position, obviously, but that's not really figuring it out. But it's
It it's an
it's
interesting one. It looks like the SCP wants to be the defensive
yeah,
team in this
surprising considering they have the
while
wind,
having the
but
wind. Yes.
split up, and I don't know. It goes against my instincts, I would have to say, but we'll see how it works for them. The thing is, I mean, the SP are lucky in the sense that the Jackals haven't even cleared the first island. I mean, they're barely at the first island, so there's still plenty of time to change up if they decide that it's not working for them.
So for those of you tuning in on radio, the SCP have taken up static positions around the northwest Diamond Isle. Meanwhile, the Jackals started out in the northwest direction, have turned to northeast, and now they're pulling up by their Diamond Isle to the southwest. So
Oh, they're stopping, or at least the ACOMs are stopping.
either they're stopping to let the 13 gun catch up, or they're also taking defensive positioning as what looks like the SCP flagship fires on its own 8 gun. Interesting tactic.
Nice.
We'll see how that one plays out.
Points here. They're just trying to. I don't know where we're going with this. They're trying to even the points a little bit.
Yes, perhaps.
It's psychological warfare. That's what I'm going.
So yeah,
Oh, they are stopping. They are stopping in a different position than I would have thought. This is a Mexican standoff, a very slow Mexican standoff.
It is a very, very cautious opening from both teams, and I think it's unnecessarily cautious, especially from the SCP.
Also from the Jackals, honestly, if they just gone straight, I mean, assuming that the SCP did the same thing, if they just gone straight ahead and just attacked those 2 8 guns, they would have been. I mean, why not? They're kind of free there. They're not. They're kind of unsupported. It's free real estate. Yeah. I mean, if I saw the SCP splitting up, I would head straight for whichever split fleet was easier to get to.
The Jackals have to move at this point. They're in perpendicular wind. They can head directly northeast. And they can cut off most position. The SCP have put themselves in a horrible position here. Absolutely
I don't
horrible.
like the SCP's position at all.
They have absolutely given up any advantage that they may have had.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre plan. And come on, Jackals. Come on, Sarny. Okay, and at least the SCP. Okay, I mean, we have to. At least the SCP-13 gun is moving now. Slowly.
We do have the
SCP-13
gun starting to move in a southerly direction. Looks like he's going to overtake the 2 8 guns and take the lead on this.
I mean,
or is he just
so. Maybe he's just maybe he's just repositioning us and trying to make our lives difficult. We have to try and entertain the viewers here. Talk about what books we read recently.
If I had a button, now would be a perfect time for a commercial break, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's right. The NSL is sponsored by. Who are we sponsored by?
BMG Hosting for all your game server needs.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Other sponsors are welcome. Here we go. So the SCP flagship is now heading in a southwesterly direction, starting to take the lead. Be interesting to see if those 2 8 guns go with him or whether they hold their position. This is definitely a gambit from the SCP-38.
It looks like he's going on his own, which is interesting to split your fleet into 3 parts. At least he has some kind of gunboat supporting him there. Come on, Jackals, go and make them pay for splitting their fleet. Come on.
This is definitely the time for the Jackals to start moving, without a shadow of a doubt.
I understand, my plan. My idea was also to kind of hold a defensive position here, but I mean, that was kind of based on the idea of the SCP, taking the dom position and trying to try and break them and not splitting their fleet into 3 bits. Come on, Jackals. This is a gift. Come on. Is that friendly fire?
That looks like friendly fire. Someone just stabbed somebody else on one of the ships.
The men are getting mutinous.
Yes, they're getting restless now.
The water is running rotten in the barrels. The black death is spreading on board, folks.
The 13 gun is flanked by the two boats.
I mean, the longer that this 13 gun leaves behind his other ships, is the better it is for the for the Jackals. Now I say that, of course, then it stops and slows down. Yeah.
This is without a doubt the most tentative start I've seen
I
in the
think so. This is
NSL.
the slowest start we've ever had. Yeah, there've been some slow matches. I think of the single match that Jackals won in the preseason against the RBF, which was kind of the two lines
Yes.
would engage and then just go off into totally different directions for basically about 3 times. But this is even. It's like they watched the Leviathans match last time. Both teams were like, let's do that. But now I've spent already. Oh God, we're over 10 minutes, folks. We're gonna lose subscribers here. Stick with us, folks. I promise it'll get interesting.
Something will happen eventually. Something will
Something
have
will
to
happen
happen eventually.
eventually. I mean, what? Okay, right now, the someone had some friendly fire, so they'll have negative points. So that team, whoever did that, will be the loser team. Correct? Am I correct? I think that's correct.
Yes, there will be. I will do a quick check on the scoreboard now, and if I scroll down through it, you will see that. Oh no, there is no score on either side.
No score. Yeah, I'm looking too. Yep. All right. So
Okay, we've got a bit of movement
gossip.
from.
We should gossip about Lemerck.
No, we've got
Easy target. What are the gun? What I mentioned, the SCP gunboats are going to the wall. So now they split their fleet into 4 bits. Oh yeah, the Jackals are turning in not the direction I would recommend them to.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. They
No,
want to enter
just
into
go
that
straight.
center.
They're right there. They're right there. Come on, Sarny.
I do hate to be critical of any team that takes part in the NSL, but I'm going to be very critical on both teams here. This is
One team is
bordering on
a
ridiculous.
very
Now.
weird, splitting their fleet into 4 parts. I can't believe they split their and the other one's just doing nothing. I'm sorry, but guys, come on. It's been nearly 15 minutes and
And
there's
nobody,
not a shot fired in anger. Okay, now come on. Okay, the SCP-8 guns are moving forward.
now we have 2 SCP-8 guns. The 2 that were to the north of the Northwest Island are now heading southeast directly into the center if they keep this current trajectory.
All right, what should the I mean, at this point. At this point, the SCP, I just go and cut in front of that line of the Jackals because they're apparently not moving.
Yeah, and that's exactly. Here we go. Here's the other 2 8 guns moving.
Yeah, the 13 gun is still lagging, and then their gunboats are off in the middle of nowhere. That's the oddest part. I don't understand that. Oh, the Jackals are moving. Okay, finally they got tired. They ran out of rum, folks, and now they got to sail. I mean, yeah, if the Jackals had done this like when they weren't moving the SCP, they'd be in a really nice spot. But yeah, I do not understand why the SCP have totally, their gunboats are so far away now. Of course they're quick and they can get in, but still.
Yeah, and they'll have the wind to get in, so I'm not too concerned about the wide angle of the 8 guns.
Sure. Oh, the 8 guns. I meant the gunboats, but yeah, the
gunboats.
Yeah, no, they'll get there, but they gotta get a move on if they want to have an impact.
The Jackals are now moving, heading for the center. They're heading. Are they going to actually enter the center of the map, or are they going to pull up and form a blockade south of this island? East of this island. We will see.
I mean, I think they're going to be in range, right? The Jackals of those 8 guns.
The Jackals should definitely be in range of at least that closest.
No, don't stop.
To them.
Okay, sorry to shout, but come on, Jackals. They're right there.
This is what's happening.
Okay, yes, okay, he's moving. He was just adjusting.
The two
Yes.
SCP rear 8 guns are now reforming with the fleet, but this negates everything they did by splitting their fleet.
Yeah, I mean now we're just getting a line battle now, basically. So that was a much ado about nothing. Okay, so the Jackal. All right, we can finally talk. The Jackal's front ship is getting hit. They're shooting back, but I haven't really seen them land any hits yet.
And it looks like the focus of
the other guns aren't. They're too far. They're not hitting yet, but they will soon.
it looks like the focus of the fire is on the lead Jackal's 8 gun.
Yeah, they're hitting that one pretty well.
And the Jackal's trajectory would say that they want to hit the flagship of the SCP pretty hard.
Yeah.
Not seeing much movement on the health bars yet, but I'm sure we'll see those any second.
A tiny bit on the left side there. There's a tiny bit off the front SCP-8 gun because it has taken a bunch of hits. And
What the SCP
been very well backed, unfortunately.
What the SCP have done is they've refused to give up the wind. They've absolutely, by positioning themselves where they are, they have refused to give. If the Jackals want to maneuver around them, they're going to have to go into negative wind.
Yeah,
So,
ironically, like if they'd just gone basically right out of spawn, they would have been in a very similar position, really, and not having to stop for 15 minutes. Right. Yeah. So the Jackals are focusing the 13 gun a little bit. You can see this thing damage, but their front 8 gun is taking quite a lot of hits. Now the question is, can the Jackals? I mean, yeah, I would trade an 8 gun to destroy the 13 gun. Question is, how well can the Jackals put the hurt into that 13 gun before their 8 gun goes down? So yeah, we have a straight line battle here. I'd say, yeah, the Jackals are a bit tighter actually, and have focusing the 13 gun nicely actually now.
The question here is not going to be the question here is not going to be whether the Jackals lose this lead 8 gun. It's how much damage the next 8 gun takes by the time they sink that 13 gun. Now I know that the SCP
are 13 gun is dropping. It's dropping.
The SCP are very protective of their 13 gun. So the question is now, do they pull up and pull it away? Because it is close to safety. It's very close to safety.
Oh, they're moving. Look, the Jackals are doing a smart thing. They're moving their damaged 8 gun. They're moving it away. The SCP-13 gun is running. It's below half health. I mean,
it is running.
It's a decent trade. It's a decent trade. The Jackals they kept it together nicely, and the SCP are kind of, well, they're spread out, as we said. I mean, they're less spread out than they were, but they're still pretty spread out.
I'm wondering, has the 13 gun decided to run too soon? Meanwhile, with the retreating 8 gun of the Jackals, this gives the SCP a decision. Do they change target, or do they continue to drop damage into that 8 gun?
I mean, as long as you can hit it, you should. But I can see, are they missing shots? Yeah, they look like they're missing. I mean, it's pretty well blocked now. I think it'll only take 1 or 2 shots, and they'll have it. It should be down in a second. But still, I mean, they drew that fire. All those other ships are basically undamaged. And the SCP-13 gun is nearly down. It's nearly dead.
It is very nearly dead.
And now, I mean, if the Jackals move forward, they'll have a decent angle on those 8 guns. Come on. Who's going down first? All right, who's going down first? I think probably the Jackals won, but I mean that is nearly dead. I mean, if I'm the Jackals now, I send the gunboats at that 13 gun, no question. Oh yeah, they're moving. They're moving.
Absolutely not. If I'm the Jackals, I let that 13 gun go and focus on the 8s now.
Oh,
the 13 is gone. The 13 is gone.
Jackals,
so now the Jackals have a question. What do
forward.
they do?
Get into
need
position
to move
while they keep fighting. But they're now in a worse position.
They are very much strategically in a bad position now. If they move, they will get the rear of their fleet caught.
Just move forward slightly, reposition. You got the 13 gun. You can be euphoric for a second, but now's the time to get a move on. And they are now. You can see them going. They have to just pick now. They just have to pick a target. The Jackals.
Their 13 gun is still firing on what looks like one of the gunboats, but they really need to start focus firing on that SCP lead 8 gun. That's the one
they should go to. I guess it looks like they might be trying to get a little bit behind. I mean, you can't really get behind them because they have the upwind position. But come on, Jackals, you had actually a pretty good start here. Well, not the first 15 minutes, but
Okay,
where are they going now?
it does look like it's going to be a classic Jackals maneuver here of
No, Jackals,
turning
you had
away.
them on the ropes.
They do like to turn away. They do.
Come on, just focus.
This is a
Okay.
trend we've
I can
seen
see what
before.
they're all firing on that lead A gun that's turning, and the other Jackal ships are focus firing that 8 gun, which is actually taking quite a lot of damage. The SCP haven't shifted target yet, so it's actually not a. I mean, it's kind of a crazy move, but I respect it. It actually kind of worked.
So now what we've got is
So
we
now,
do have the
it's just gonna suck. It's just gonna go right to the back. It's like ring around the roses here. They're just gonna go right to the back again. That's pretty funny. I hope, at least. Yeah, look at this. The Jackals are doing something really cool here.
So what we currently have right now is the SCP have a defensive position upwind. The Jackals have kind of trapped themselves into a negative wind position, and the SCP will likely just sit here and continue to beat down on 8 gun after 8 gun. Despite the loss of the flagship, the outgoing damage so far has not been enough for the Jackals. They have 2 crippled 8 guns by the looks of things. Definitely one that is absolutely crippled.
I mean, it's
crippled.
the
Another
SCP's
one.
next 8 gun might be going down here in a second. I mean, it's more crippled than.
It's more crippled than one of them, but they've the Jackals still have
Watch this
that
one go
one
down
in
in a
the
second.
rear.
Watch it go down here in a second, unless it gets out of range. And then it might be. Yeah, let's see. Oh, and it's getting attacked. The damaged one is getting attacked by the gunboats there in the top corner, the western corner of the southwest island.
I do see
They
them
could take it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can see them just on the southwest island at the very top, the Jackals have very sneakily set up 2 gunboats to attack any of the SCP that are escaping, and it looks like the entire SCP fleet now wants to escape. They are
they're all
running.
escaped. They're running,
and they're running into negative wind as well.
Yeah.
If there was ever an opportunity for the Jackals to get the wind in their favor, it is now to follow the SCP.
We'll see.
We'll
see what they do
even
now.
Even to shadow them.
Yeah, just to shadow them. Just go ahead now and try and get some more shots off on them.
They definitely need to move
their. Oh, look there. Oh,
there goes another one. There goes another one.
They are 2 up. Honestly, the Jackals. But look, their damaged ship is sailing off into the blue yonder, and their half damaged ship is, I think, done what I said and sort of just joined the line, albeit it's in the wrong direction. But honestly, the Jackals could lay back and chill now.
So let's just take a step back. Let's just take a step back. What we saw from the start of this battle was we watched the team with the wind take a very, very cautious approach, a very defensive approach. Now that defensive approach has hurt them badly. They spent 15 minutes not engaging. They are now down 2 ships. They're down by 2 ships. They have to move away from the incoming fire. What they don't have now is the time in which to turn these tables.
Honestly, the Jackals have done a really good thing here.
The Jackals had the right to be defensive in this battle. They had the wind in their face, and they did the right thing. The SCP have misplayed this one massively.
Yeah, 2 things. I mean, first off, if you have the wind, you don't really have to be on the defensive because
absolutely not.
Wind. And secondly, why split your fleet up into 4 bits especially when you have the wind? Like, because I think that's in the end, this ended up being kind of a line battle basically in a weird way. But the SCP's fleet was just more spread out, and the Jackals was nice and concentrated and was able to hit the 13 gun. The SCP weren't. That's nuts and bolts. What it comes down to.
In fairness, the split, I wouldn't. I'm not going to focus too much on the split because when it came to blows, there was no split at that point. It was a
sure, but they were just that little bit more spread out than if you could put it up on a chessboard. as you would like, right? They were just a little bit further apart than the Jackals were, and those small margins they add up, I think.
The split would have, in my opinion, the split would have worked for the SCP if they'd have continued to move from the original position they started in to move directly south across the map. Then they could have enveloped what was a very static fleet of the
Sure,
Jackals. However,
sure,
they
but they would have
decided
probably. I mean, the Jackals wouldn't have stayed there if that had happened, right?
no, no, no,
I
no,
mean, I
no.
don't know.
But,
They would
but
have.
but at that point, you forced your enemy to commit to a direction. They would have still had the wind to readjust and react. If the Jackals had moved forward, they had the lower 2 8 guns to cut them off and delay them, while the 3 ships came in full steam into the wind, turned their guns in, uh, and would have had massive firepower on the front ships that had already had their T-crossed. If they'd have decided to engage the 3 ships that were coming over the top, the 2 below, steam in, and yeah, I see what the SCP were thinking. What they didn't do was follow through with the plan. Now the
Yeah,
question is,
they're
so
doing
what
what
we
you said. The Jackals is now having a nice cruise towards the upwind position. I mean, against the wind, of course, but I mean, they're just sort of they're chilling. I mean, they
yeah, they're
send off their
massively
damaged
out of
ship,
range. The the the,
but
the
but yeah, the Jackals are sitting pretty here. I'd say
they absolutely
they're gonna
are.
wait for the SCP to come around this island. Hopefully, they'll be in a nice position to hit them when they come around. I mean, I don't even know what the SCP should do in this case. I mean, this is maybe where the SCP should start playing defensively, not at the beginning of the match.
Well, the Jackals
But they
need
can't
to
afford to.
decide.
They can't afford to. The
The Jack
SCP can't afford to play play defensive now.
The Jackals need
They're
to make a decision very fast because at the minute they're getting themselves into a bit of a mess. While the SCP
yeah,
have a great fleet line,
yeah, they
where the
are.
SCP are going to turn up, the Jackals' lead 8 gun is pointing directly into that. That's not a position they want to be in. They need to start
Yeah,
turning that 13 gun to the west right now to get its guns in as these 8 guns come around the corner. This is what we're
or they
talking about.
alternate east
This
or
is what we're
whatever.
talking about when we say that the Jackals can't finish. The Jackals now have a massive upper hand. The SCP are still looking for the fight because they're coming back in. They know they need to sink something, but the
I think they
Jackals
can
have
do
now
it. I
gotten
think they
themselves
can
in
do
a
it
horrible
here.
position.
I think they can do it. They have just enough time to do it. Again, this is the Jackals. I mean, as we can see, they are learning. They're getting better. They are gonna hopefully put themselves in a nice line here and put in a good fight against the SCP here.
And the firing opens up again, and it's everything on that lead 8 gun. The lead 8 gun of the
Yeah, which is
SCP-38 is
already
taking a
damaged.
lot of damage now.
Come on. Yeah, the SCP. So yeah, one of the Jackals. In case you're wondering, watching this, one of the Jackals SCP has gone. You set off in the blue yonder because it's heavily damaged and there's no reason to risk it.
That has to be the heavily damaged one, and that you want to put in. You just want to put that in your
Yeah.
back pocket. You don't want to risk losing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
ship
There's no
and
reason.
losing this
That's a very
commanding
good
lead.
call. I wonder if because I don't see the SCP gunboats anymore. I wonder if they've gone to try and chase that down.
That is
Right. So now we
definitely
have a
an
long
admiral
battle
what
here.
I'd be the
The
order I'd be given.
SCP, the Jackals were a little bit late to get into position. You know, if they turned 30 seconds earlier, they'd be better. But they're still not in a bad position. They could even look. Their front ship here can actually cut off the SCP line.
Exactly.
And the 13 gun is totally undamaged here. The question is
Yeah.
now focusing fire. Yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, you were critical of the Jackals a second ago, and it wasn't maybe perfect, but
Yeah,
I think we've been harshly
absolutely
critical of the Jackals, but so far they've played a pretty good game.
they have
I
played a
mean,
pretty good game, and they played the game that they have. All my criticism now is definitely on the SCP for not using the
yeah,
advantage.
I mean we're nitpicking the Jackals here a little bit. Okay, you should have turned 30 seconds earlier, but I mean in general, like this is very nice here. And the question, hopefully they can. I think they're trying to focus fire that front ship. I don't know if their last ship can do it. But
The concern, the
yeah,
concern,
SCP front ship is. Ooh, I just saw a cannon explosion. It's in
Yep.
damage, and it might just hit an island now. To get around that, or at least to get around that island, it has to take a turn that it really doesn't want to make. Let's see. Can it make? It's hitting the beach. No, we're good.
He made it through.
True,
He
though.
made
It
it
has
through.
a T cross. I mean, it's
It's in the
trouble.
way. The SCP are in a bad position now, and
Yeah, I
absolutely
mean,
bad. The
I mean,
Jackals
it's
now
too
need
early to
to.
call it, but it's looking very good for the Jackals. I mean, this could be a real upset victory. The first real big upset we've had this season if the Jackals don't fall apart completely here. Come on, sink that front ship before it crosses the line. Come on, come on.
I said it before the game. The Jackals had a few wins in them this season. I did not see it being
Sarnia
this
Leeds
game.
is I'm very excited to see what Sarnia Leeds can do because he was their top captain basically, and
He was.
now we're gonna have some boarding action here probably, and he has not disappointed. He's really come through. I rate Sarnia Leeds a lot. He played on the flagship with me last match.
Oh, we just lost Baboof temporarily. So now that the SCP have burst through the lines of the Jackals fleet, however, the rear two ships of the Jackals have shadowed those bursting ships, and now the ships that have burst through are in a pretty terrible position, as the entire broadside of the 13 gun that must have been boarded due to its lack of movement. Ah, here we go. Now it's dropped sails, and it will punish the two ships that cut across its bow. It's been a very interesting game. It was a very slow game to start off with, and for that we can only apologize, ladies and gentlemen. But it has burst into quite a visceral battle now, and we're seeing this as we go on and on. That the Jackals have. How can we put this? The Jackals have matured. We've definitely seen the maturation of the Jackals. Like, whether that's the new admiral, I don't know. Maybe it's. I don't want to be critical of the other Jackals, admiral, because I think he's a very good admiral and has just had some bad times. Baboof, is that you back with us? Nope, still no Baboof, so we'll keep working on that one. But as you see, ladies and gentlemen, this has just evolved into a bit of a mess of. There is absolutely no cohesion now. We are hitting what you could only call the general ending for an NSL match, which is all-out chaos of ships all over the place. We've got two Jackals 8-gun shadowing a single 8-gun. We've got an SCP-8 gun on its own in trapped between both fleets. I mean, what? Considering the very, very slow start we had to this game, the slowest start we've had yet, this has turned into a bit of an action-packed last 10 minutes. I don't think the result is in doubt. Looking at these ship healths, I mean, it's 3 losses to 1 loss at this point. We have a 4-on-2, but it has definitely been a very interesting match, and I will very much look forward to the wardroom episode on this match. I don't know when the next wardroom is at the minute, but definitely keep out for this, because it would be very, very interesting to get a full tactical analysis. I stand by that the SCP lost the initiative in this game by not being aggressive enough. And I give full credit to the Jackals. They needed to be defensive. They were defensive. I wasn't convinced by the defensive positioning, but by golly, it worked. It worked. And
You hear me?
welcome back, Baboof. Baboof has returned.
I got too excited and I don't know what happened, but I'm having to use my phone instead here. Embarrassing, but what a match! It looks like. I mean, I don't know when I cut out here, but man, what a match here. Oh, and it's all over. I just came back for it to be right over again.
And that is a win for the Jackals. They've won via the number of
Daunting
ships.
victory of nearly 10,000 points. About 9,000 points. 9,500 points.
That is
Wow,
a big, big gap.
What a match! What a great match! I mean, I sort of only half watched the last because of my technical difficulties, but I mean, it was already all over but the crying. So what was that? Only one ship lost for the Jackals, right? And
One
3
ship lost.
for the SCP.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And it
Beautiful.
was, for the first 15 minutes we didn't have a match, but for the last 20 minutes have just made up for it.
Yeah,
That was a
we had one of the most exciting ones we've had in a while.
it
Man, I'm
was.
so happy. I'm thrilled. I was we're we're getting ready to fire these admirals here, but I'm very happy how it turned out. Let's see if I can get this working again on my proper headset, so I don't sound like I'm on tin can here. But yeah, what a great match. I hope the viewers enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah, I hope the viewers stuck around for it as long as we did.
Yeah.
But if you did, you got treated to something that was it was a joy to behold. For me
Yeah.
personally, to watch the Jackals do what they did.
I'm so happy with the Jackals. I'm
th-
so happy with Sarn Leeds. Yeah, and yeah, what a yeah, what a wonderful match, honestly.
they have been threatening and threatening to do something like this. They just, as we said, they were struggling to follow through on a good mid game. They have now
Yeah,
they finished that game perfectly. They, despite
yeah,
my mid game concerns that they weren't going to react
yeah.
well enough.
I
No,
mean, look,
they absolutely proved me wrong on that one, and they came in and they got the W.
yeah, they had them right where they wanted them, and Sarni showed patience. I think people in our regiment, our captains, admirals, not the most patient. Sarni could, maybe teach us a thing or two about actually, holding your defensive position for more than 2 minutes, unlike Leviathans last week, because apparently it can pay dividends. I mean. They
Absolutely,
really,
absolutely.
despite annoying the hosts and maybe boring the viewers, what comes down to in the end is getting that W on the board, right? Um,
It does. It absolutely does.
so yeah,
And so let's move to the admirals interviews we have with us first. Muffin Top Scout. Muffin, on for I don't know what more to say than that was very against the odds. Loss there. Um, Tell us what happened.
Yeah, I mean, congrats on them. They fought well. The Jackals deserve it. Said they're a good team to fight against, and they subverted my expectations. I thought they would be more aggressive, and I'm kind of glad to see that they tripped me up on that. But
Absolutely. I mean, we said before the game that the Jackals have been improving and they definitely had wins in them. But we also said that today wouldn't be the day. But um, mo- straight down to it, Muffin, I want to talk about your opening. What was your thinking behind let's not beat around the bush, the very, very tentative opening while you had the wind advantage?
yeah, I mean, we were thinking about with the wind advantage, like how best to use it, and we thought that honestly, kind of doing what we did there, kind of fighting around our island, as we called it on our side, would be the best bet because we wanted to originally thought that they would maneuver potentially into the center of the map so that we could create a kind of like an arc firing position on them and then just focus them down. Or if they
Yep.
tried to like spiral, we would spiral in the center.
hmm
But when they did their defensive type of area, I thought, okay, I'm gonna try to maneuver forward a little bit, see if that'll entice a reaction, trying to keep to that my original plan. But then we were thinking about, okay, well, let's try to fight it out. Can we maneuver into a position to try to cut in front of them, or kind of a ad hoc plan for maneuvering kind of into a position to do that? And you know, they
They had an
and they
answer for it.
they did, and they maneuvered, and my 8 or my 13 was little too close to it, and I didn't pull out in time.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to come to actually. That middle bit when both fleets basically stopped in the middle and had a little exchange of fire. I thought your position there was excellent. You'd blocked off the Jackal's ability to get good wind. They tried to angle to get some good wind, but anything they did from that position would be negative wind. Unfortunately, the firepower they unleashed on your 13 was just, I mean,
It was good.
it was keeping with the damage you were putting on their first 8-gun, and then they pulled that 8-gun out, which I think Baboof and I would both agree was a great decision on their point. And you hit the nail on the head. I think if when your 13 got to that point, you were better off leaving it in to do as much damage as it could rather than pulling out. I think I don't know how and I know in the heat of battle you wanna save your big ship to fight again somewhere
It
else.
got sunk
Remove
by
the-
gunboats in the end, correct?
No,
I do believe.
I think it was, well, a lot of cannonballs came in. So
Sure,
I
yeah.
think it was either the
Hard to say.
13, the last 8s, or the 8 guns. It was a lot. A lot of final shots came in at that point, but it could have been.
Yeah, hard to
But
say. I had a question. What was sorry, it's a bit pedantic, but what was with the thought of the gunboats at the wall? Because I don't think I've ever seen that in an NSL
oh,
match before.
that was another. That was once again. That was me probing for a reaction.
Right,
I
right.
wanted to have the gunboats go to the wall, see if the Jackals would either maneuver to come after my 13 gun with the gunboats. Maybe thinking that I'm going to come in from a try to get behind them and for some reason take on their whole fleet. It was trying to get a reaction from them, maybe even bait their gunboats out so that we could take them out. But yeah, it was just testing the waters at that point.
And did your
Absolutely.
gunboats end up sinking that last the one Jackal 8-gun ship? Because I had
They
some technical difficulties and I missed it.
they did. I told my gunboats to get there, to sacrifice themselves if needed, just bring that 8-gun down, and then
Absolutely.
they could fight it out. And at the end of the fight, I basically told my guys, we're gonna do this last maneuver. And when I saw that crazy minute, when I saw the opportunity, I just, okay, boys, we're gonna mass board, point blank them, fight it out, have fun.
Yeah, could definitely tell the Jackals 13 gun had its sails up for a lot longer than we expected. So yeah, at that point we knew some sort of boarding action had gone on. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I zoomed in and tried to film it, but yeah, I had technical difficulties, unfortunately. But I mean, the match did start out pretty slowly, but it absolutely ended in the most entertaining way. So that was wonderful.
it was getting to the point where I was a bit worried that we weren't going to have a match. I'll be honest. Everybody was just staring at each other. It was very much a Mexican standoff, but commiserations on your loss. It's your first defeat this season. But is there anything that you can take away from this battle?
I mean, it'll be kind of better planning and more importantly, just trying to, I'm guessing, bring our, use my I got to get better with positioning my 13, honestly. For most of my fights, I feel like I get a little bit too aggressive in maneuvering. So I can expose us to unnecessary, like, knowing being the primary target, I need to bait 8s to, come to me. If they can focus their whole fleet fire on me, but I'm just barely out of range, that allows my 8s to get the damage in that is needed. But that's what I think really needs to
Well,
happen. And yeah, just to keep fighting it out to the end.
It's your
but
first time on this. It's your first time on this map as well, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a rite of passage. This is a very difficult, interesting map. I think it's a rite of passage at this point to maybe be taken slightly aback by it. But I'm excited to see where you guys are going, and thanks for a fun match.
and far be it from me to say to tell another admiral what to do, but maybe have a think about taking the 8 guns out. If you are that you have that aggressive instinct, definitely leading the 8 guns and letting someone who's a bit more cautious take the 13 gun might work in the future. But as Babu said, thank you very much for an excellent match, and we look forward to the next time the SCP fight. So that takes us on to the victorious Admiral Charney Liss. Charney, I believe, doesn't have the best English, so he may have an interpreter. So, Charney, congratulations. Tell us how you're feeling after that victory.
Poza tym, po pierwsze, dobra robota, po drugie, jak w ogóle się z tym czujesz?
No cóż, bardzo unikałem dowodzenia, odkąd naprawdę stworzyłem tą drużynę. Udało się zjednoczyć dość sporą część polskiej społeczności i no, nadal jestem trochę w szoku, że się udało wygrać. Ja, mimo bycia po raz pierwszy admirałem.
Słuchaj, no, to jest bardzo fajna sprawa. 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 So I was really trying to avoid commanding from the beginning of this team, but I was able to join a really big part of community, and
Good.
I would say I was really surprised that in my first commanding match I was able to win.
Yes, you did win, and Baboof has been very
I, I
complimentary of you.
I had a
Go
good
ahead.
feeling. Honestly, you said I was trying to avoid command, if I understand correctly. I had a feeling that I would see Sarni as admiral. I was not surprised to see that today. Honestly, I think there's great things in store for you.
Ogólnie mówiąc, Babów widzi w tobie dość dużą przyszłość. Jeżeli byś chciał dalej dowodzić. W sensie.
Pomyślimy nad tym z Kaszubem.
We will think about it with Kashib.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, we hope so.
Tell us how difficult it was for you to. I don't want to say hold your nerve, but just to sit still for that long.
Jak było to trudne, żebyś po prostu siedział na początku, tak bez ruchu, bez niczego, czekając po prostu na ich ruch.
Nie było to trudne. Wiedzieliśmy, że przeciwnik będzie miał inicjatywę przez wiatr, dlatego y, przed bitwą wybraliśmy najlepsze miejsce, gdzie mieliśmy najwięcej możliwości reakcji na ruch przeciwnika. Po prostu wystarczyło czekać, aż przeciwnik zdecyduje, gdzie chce stoczyć bitwę.
To be honest, it was not that hard, as we know from the beginning that the SCP will have an initiative in terms of the wind. So we try to put ourselves in such position that we have the most possibilities to further extend our match.
Well, it definitely worked in your favor. It absolutely worked in your favor. Your focus fire was very much on point as well, doing so much damage to the 13 gun in such a little amount of time, and your decision to send the 8 gun round. I mean, we saw it play out in front of us. There's not many more questions I can ask, really. Baboof, have you got
Not
any?
really. It was just very good. Like, it's no comments. I mean, yeah, it was exciting to see a team kind of blossom in this way.
Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely something. This feels like a culmination of seeing you guys go from struggling to yeah. It was a beautiful thing to see today. It was a great narrative to follow.
It was, ogólnie mówiąc, it was... I'm sorry.
No, zrozumiałem, ale możesz powiedzieć, że tu trzeba oddać Falasionowi, że to on wyszedł z inicjatywą, żeby skupić ogień na 13. Ja proponowałem pierwszą 8, więc tak naprawdę to jego zasługa, że pierwsza na dno poszła 13.
So Charnelist just wants to add that the aiming at the 30 gun was the Falasian idea from the beginning, as Charnelist was trying to shoot the first 8 gun at the first. It was the Falasian that decides that we should sink the 30 gun.
Well, it's
Well,
a
good
sign
job
of
for Falashan.
yeah, it's a sign of a great leader who can take on in suggestions and follow through on suggestions from guys
Yeah, good for
in
listening.
lower stands. So yeah,
I mean, I think
But no.
that and then moving the 8 gun back those are really the game-winning moves.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'd like to thank both admirals for what turned out to be a really great game. I really
Dziękuję,
thoroughly
kurwa.
enjoyed what. Excuse me.
Nothing.
Nothing. So with that, I'd like to thank the admirals for their time and again congratulate Charney and the Jackals of the Baltic Sea. Commiserations to Muffin Top Scout and the SCP38s. I now want to take this opportunity to open the floor to some of the correspondence. Now, during that, I was controlling the overhead, so I didn't see much of what happened up close. So is there anyone who's got any? I particularly want to know what the boarding on the Jackals 13 gun looked like. So is any correspondent? Did any of you guys get a good view of that?
There was some boarding action during the match, mostly during the what I would say technically a fuck up in the middle at the end of the match as ships starts to mashing into each other.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And that tends to be how most NSL matches end, or the good ones end. The good ones end in
And
complete
during the
chaos.
and I could also say that boarding action was extended almost to the last second. So
It was, and
I
as
had some eyes on that boarding action and thing, and it seemed to me like they killed the carronade gunner in the front, but they didn't manage to get back to the captain. But then I had my technical issues, so I didn't see more. But I saw them set off again, so I think it wasn't a game winner for the SCP. Let's just say it that way.
no, but it was a last roll of the dice, and as
Yeah, you
Muffin
have to
said,
do it if you're there. You got to do it.
he let the guys go and have fun. We have been joined by the missing presence this week. Hello, sir. How are we?
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we
Of
can
course.
hear you.
What a battle.
The
Oh,
sonorous voice of Lamerck is joining us again.
What a
Finally,
battle.
Atticus and I got to get our fill of yapping this week.
You guys did a great
Yes.
job. You guys did a great job.
I'm glad you liked it.
I'm a little upset that we didn't get to the part where you wanted to gossip about me for a little bit in the
No,
downtime.
they then starting then the SCP had to start getting move on. What a pain.
Yeah, then they really got
we could
things
have just
going.
sat there. We could have sat there and reminisced about the old times.
What though, but what a battle.
Yeah, wonderful.
I just that was we've seen like I wanted to show a defensive battle last week with the Leviathans.
Yeah, and you lost patience after about 2 minutes.
And 2 seconds, yeah, exactly. As soon as
You're like,
I saw
we're
anything
not
I thought
doing
I could
this.
exploit, I ran forward. But it really, the Jackals really showed us how a defensive game gets played. And I think you said earlier, Alex, I cannot wait to get this into the wardroom, which should be next week. Either way, just because there's so many interesting choices unmade by the SCP. They had such an interesting formation. I know you guys weren't a big fan of it in the moment of, but I loved it, and yet they never pulled the trigger on it.
No.
And that was a shame for me to watch because it was
really like
very interesting.
The Jackals position, because I would have, I hadn't like gained it out or whatever. I'm sure that maybe the Jackals gained it out and planned it. But
Mhm.
I was thinking, block the main channel, but they actually blocked the upwind channel, which is actually turned out to be a better idea because then you have that channel blocked, and then you can easily go to the middle if you want to.
Yeah,
That ended up being a very smart choice on their part.
And I thought that you could really. There was this moment where the Jackals line kind of faked like they were going to go in a direction, and then they kind of ended up turning back.
Yeah.
As soon as they saw, so this whole time, Muffin's talking about trying to like bait something from the Jackals, right? He's putting ships out. You could even see that his 13 gun extending forward like it did while all the 8 guns were kind of hanging back. That was just provocative, right? That was all just, it seemed like Muffin was just trying to get some kind of reaction. He needed the Jackals to just start moving in some direction. And then when they did move, they moved in a way that didn't make any sense. And you guys were, like, what are you guys doing? Where are you going? And then they turned right back around to where they went to go originally, and they had the battle that they wanted. It was such a good battle. The second half of that battle was so dense. So I can't wait to talk more
I'm
about
looking
it.
forward to going over it, looking at it and going over it again, because I mean there was just probably stuff that we missed, but
I think if I was going to give a tagline to that match, it would be "Good things come to those who wait."
Yeah, really.
I'd say my tagline would be "The Jackals have grown their claws finally."
Yeah, so such an important win for the Jackals, to be honest. Such an important win, and it was an important battle for the SCP too, because I think these 3 wins in a row for them would have been a very strong statement in the league, and I thought they were going to get it. I was sure they were going to get it, just like you guys. So what a great battle!
I was sure until I saw Sarni was admiral, and I was like, interesting.
I know. I listen again. Like Alex said, I'm not one to give fleet commanders fleets any advice, but put that guy back in command again
Yes.
because him and Flazian, I guess I'm probably butchering his name, but the two of them obviously have the stuff to win. What a great
Yeah.
duo, clearly.
I'm also glad to see someone who really like they clearly studied the map. Like they didn't just go into this blind. They're like, okay, you know, what are the angles of approach here, which I really do appreciate.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
think we've introduced to some kind of metagame over these past two battles of, you know, somebody holding a position and then waiting to see what happens. And I thought it was
Yeah, like I said before the match
interesting,
started,
so
like, oh,
interesting.
no one's quite figured this map out yet, but the Jackals figured out, at least in this from their angle, absolutely figured it out.
Well, anyway, thanks for letting me say a few words because I just was so thrilled about this battle. And
Yeah,
its
we
results.
couldn't keep you out. We couldn't keep you out of the broadcasting chair here. Sure, as much as we could try.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is all that needs to be said about that game. That match was probably one of the most fun matches I've ever watched. I'd like to just take this moment to thank some of the team behind the scenes. I'd like to thank Mr. Dr. Professor for his directing. I'd like to thank Eggs. I'd like to thank, excuse me, Wavy. I'd like to thank, what else did we have? Piet, of course. Piet for both corresponding and his sorry, my Discord's just dying a little. It won't give me the list, but Piet, Eggs, Wavy for excellent corresponding. Safe and Eggs. Can't forget Eggs either. Next week we have no match. There is no match next week.
Oh, it's
However,
Easter.
it is Easter next week. However, following up on that, we will have a matchup between the Krakens and the Royal Black Fleet on
Hell yeah.
Broken Ring map. So we'll see the Broken Ring map for the second time this season, and it's the Kraken's second attempt on the Broken Ring map.
And there
So
should be a ward room next week, right?
Yeah. Well, at some time, I don't know if I'm going to do it on Easter, but sometime we're going to get a ward room
All right,
together
soon.
But yeah,
Excellent.
this week.
Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that match as much as we did. My final thanks go to Baboof for being an excellent co-host as always. Thank you, Baboof.
Thank you. You did a great job too. Good team.
I did have to carry
You're fired, Mark. We're the hosts now.
Yes, this is a mutiny, sir.
That's all right. I'm happy for it.
But, well, thank you and good evening.